Okay, in the last session, what we did, we created a authentication system. So in this session, what we are going to do, we are going to use that authentication system and build on that authentication system. That is, we are going to build some views in which we need the authentication. So let me open the app which we created last time. Let's go through it once and see what we did last time. The temporary file where I'm creating the database, and I'm adding one user 2, and here is the class security file. And before going to the class security, let's go to the config file and let's see what is inside this config file. So inside this config file, okay, have I shared the screen? Okay. So this is the app which we created last time. We created an authentication system. So let's start. Let's go through the system which we created last time. So this is the config file. Inside the config file, we have bunch of configurations. The first one is SQL Alchemy database theory. This is how your application knows what is the database which you are using, and this is the secret key. Secret key is essential uh, for encrypting the session cookie. So whenever you are using the session, you'll have to use the secret key, and the password security password salt is used to encrypt the password. And we have, and these two strings are pretty simple, but you should, in whenever you are using these in the production, you should use it pretty complicated strings. But this is just a demo, so we are using a very simple strings. And SQL Alchemy track modification will track, if we'll keep it false, then the SQL Alchemy will stop tracking the modification which you are doing in your model. And then WTF CSRF enabled is false because we are going to use the authentication keys, so we are not going to use any form, so we don't need the CSRF token from class security. That's why we have kept it false. And security token authentication header is for, it's the way to tell the class security that we are going to send the authentication token in the authentication token header. Okay, these were the configurations, and inside the secret, the class security, inside the sec.py module, we have created a Flask user data store. In order to create the SQL Alchemy user data store, you need to pass the DB instance and the user model and the role model, which we have created inside the models.py. So this is the SQL Alchemy data store, user data store. It's just a bunch of methods which are related to the database operations, which I showed in the last session. And inside the models.py, we have a user model which has the ID, username, email, password, active, FS unifier. The the FX unifier is very important if you are using the authentication token, because this is used to generate the authentication token. And we have we have the role model. So the role model has ID, name, and description. So, and these are related in many to many. They are related with each other in many to many relationships, which you can see here. This is the role users, and we have one more database which we have not used yet. The blog database, the I mean the blog table. This blog table has ID, title, and description, which we are going to use today. And maybe we'll create a relationship with this user, like each block will be related to some user. So let's create a relationship here. Log, I'll copy this, and this this blog relationship will be for the blog, and then we would also define the backref. So this relationship will create a column in the user database, which will give you the list of all the blocks related to the user. And inside this, I'll use the backref, and I'll name it user. So what this backref will do, it will create another relationship blog on the blog table table, and any instance of the blog can track the user which created the blog. And I don't think we need anything else, because the secondary is used for the table which defines the relationship. What this secondary means, that we are defining the many-to-many relationship using this rows users table. And paragraph we have already defined, and it will not mention the lazy parameter. By default, it will be lazy is equal to true. So we have defined this block relationship. Okay. Now let's create some entities in order to use it in the front end. So what I will do, I'll delete this instance for now. This database instance for now, and delete it permanently, and create a user with a blog. Yeah.
Sir,
Yes.
so just now you have created a blog which is a relationship with the. Can you show me? Yeah. So this relationship is a one to many, one to.
Yes.
So uh, then there should be a column, no, sir, where it can.
Yes. 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 Sorry, I'll have to create a column. Dot ID. Okay. And then let's go to the temp.py, where we are going to use. I have deleted the database. I'll then uncomment this preview.create all, which will create all the tables in the database. If not store, find user2.email.com. I'll create this email, and I have committed the session now. What I'll do, I'll create a blog instance. Blog is equal to, I'll have to import this blog from the models. Blog, and inside this blog, what I will do, I'll go to the models, but what are the things which we need to mention here. So the ID I'll leave because it's auto implemented, and title and description I'll have to pass. Title, first blog, and I'll pass the description. Equal to. Okay, so I have created this blog, and then what I'll do, I'll add this. I have not created a user now. And user, create user. Okay, let me not use this. Already deleted that. Should not have deleted that. Let me run this once. Okay, for that I'll have to go and start the server. The auth system. Okay, I'll have to mention the foreign key to here. Okay, let me start this first. We have to mention the foreign key constraint inside the models where we wrote the block ID. Dot copy it from the classes. And models create tables. And digital HTML. Log dot. Let's again open, and here we will run that temp.py. Okay, now let's go back and see whether the database is created. Yeah. Okay. And then inside the user, let me see whether the user is created or not. Yeah, I have not given any username. I think we have created it wrong. Where is the thing? Where is the thing? Models.py. I mean, it should not be here. We have. Copy this, and inside this blog, I will pick the user ID, and it will be ID. I have to delete this database again, and here I'll run the temp.py again. See this in the models.py we have this blog, so we are creating a relationship with the blog, and then we are defining the user ID here, which says that this blog is related to this user. So whenever we will try to access the any instance of user.blog, it will give you all the blocks which are related to this user. So and which will be identified by user ID. We go and check the dev.pg inside the blog, uh, this one, and let's go inside the temp.py and let's add a user. Let's add a blog. So what we will do, uh, user, I'll find user dot get. I don't know whether I have imported the user or not. User dot query dot get, and I'll get the first user, and then let's create a blog instance. Blog is equal to uh, blog, and I'll give a title is equal to first blog, and then I'll add a description. Description is equal to this is my blog. And then I will add this to the user dot log is equal to blog, should have named that blogs, user dot blog dot blog, and then I will add this user to the user is already there in the session, so I just have to commit this db dot session dot commit. So what I did, I fetched the user with the ID one, and then I created a blog instance, and then added to this user.blog property, and then I am committing this system. So let me run this. Then okay, let me go and check inside the database. block has been created and it is related to the user ID 1. So you can do it using the UI also, but I am doing it just to show that this is like how you can insert the data inside the database. You can attach that uh, that functions inside the temp.py to a inside a view function. You can add this inside a view function and then can trigger that view function using HTTP. Like you can add a route and then run this code. So we are not using the post method. We will not be using the post method for like first hour of the session. That's why I am adding this so that I could show that you can fetch the data using the view. Now we have this, and then what I will do, I'll create a REST API. So I was thinking about using the REST plus RESTful, but I think it will take a lot of time. So I will go with creating a simple route. So let's first look at how our application is working, which we created the last time. Created last time. So let's go and visit that website. So you can see that. Okay, let me go through the view part of this, the front end part of this application. So this was the backend part, and then inside, if you go to the inside the templates.py, it has only one index.html, and index.html it has just a div with id app which has nothing inside it, and we are adding two script files. The file app.js, which has, and inside, if you go to the app.js, it has the the root instance. It has the root component of the view, which says the div hello with the view app, and then we have added the router view. The router view is kind of outlet for some component based on the route. For example, if you are visiting just slash, then the home component will be rendered inside the router view. If you will visit the slash profile, the profile component will be rendered inside the router view. If you look at here, then we are just visiting slash. So the whatever is inside the home component will be rendered inside the router view, and hello from view app is coming from the template. Hello from the view app is coming from this template. Let me do one thing. I just open it side by side, and I will. Okay. Yes. So now you can see both of these screens. Okay, so what happens whenever you are visiting this endpoint slash, what it is doing, it is rendering the index.html which is inside this index.html, and which is inside this templates, and this index.html is loading this app.js which has the root component of the vue.js, a root which has the root component, and this root component has the router installed. You can see that I have defined the router configuration here. So in our application, there are three routes: slash, slash profile, and slash login. And we have added this router. What this router does, it will. I mean, now this router instance is accessible in all the components. And how this router view works, I have already explained that whenever, so based on the path, which path match, the router view will render the component. So for example, if it matches with slash profile, it will render the profile component. So this is how our do app was working, and then inside the profile.js we have nothing. Welcome to the profile page. If you go to the welcome to the home page, okay, so that's why it is showing welcome to the home page, because for slash we have mapped the home component. Okay, now if these are done, so what I will be doing, and let's go and log into this app. Okay, now what I'll have to do, I'll have to maximize it, login, and this login, and if you look at here, you can see that the this is the login form which we are using in order to log in the user. And what, let's go and see what this login form is doing. So inside this login form we have a email input type, and then we have a password input type. And what we are doing, we are remodeling this with credential.email and the credential.password, and then we are making a request to the slash login question mark include auth token, which is provided by the class security. We don't have to implement this slash login include auth token endpoint. It's already implemented with the class security. And then what we are doing, we are sending these credentials, and we are adding this header content type which says that uh, the body which we are sending is a JSON data. And then once we receive the response, then what we are doing, we are passing that response, whatever the the server is sending, we are parsing that JSON data, because the server is also sending a JSON data. So we are parsing that JSON data in a JavaScript object, and then JavaScript object, what we are doing, we are like storing that, and then after that we are parsing that, and from that JavaScript object we are filtering the authentication token. And let's go and run that. User 2@email.com, I guess this was the email, and 1234. Let's log in. You can see that we are receiving this authentication token, and along with that we are storing that authentication token inside this auth token here. So we are storing it inside the local storage, and also we are getting this cookie from the server, because like Flask security is built on top of Flask login, and Flask login use session based authentication. So there is a way to remove this, like receiving the cookie, but we will not be discussing in this session. What you can do is, like, you can implement a logout route. You can implement a logout, and then that will remove the data from the local storage and this cookie too. So that logout route has been, one second. Okay, so let's like log out the users. For that, what we will do, inside the home.js, we will create a link. Let's create a link inside the div. What we will do, uh, this is the div element, and here we have welcome page, and then I'll create a link. I think I'll wrap this link inside. Okay, I'll write the link here. Create anchor tag, or create a span tag. and then I'll write log out. Then I'll add a event handler on click. On click is equal to uh, so this logout will be a method. So I have created a span element, and let's move it towards the right. Okay, and then I'll create the method logout. And what this logout method will do, it will the first it will remove the authentication token from the local storage. You can see that whenever okay, you can see that we are storing that token inside the local storage too. So what I will do, I'll just remove this authentication token from the local storage. Local storage, local storage dot remove item, and remove the auth token. I hope the name is correct. Yeah. Auth token. We are removing this auth token, and then after that, what we will be doing, we will be sending a fetch request to a endpoint which is already been created inside the Flash security. So let's make a fetch request. Fetch and inside. Okay, fetch. And we are going to make a fetch request to the logout endpoint, and then if the response is 200, then and then I this is the response object. So fetch always returns a response object, and there is a there is a property of the response object response.ok, which will give you if which will be evaluated to true if the value of the status code of the response is between 200 and 300. That is if everything went right. If the response.ok, I want to push the like user to the home page. We are already on the home page, so let's push it to the login page. Push okay, router dot push dot router dot push, and then I'll pass the. We have not added the name to any route. Let's add some name. Name is equal to home name home, and I'll give it a name profile. Name is just a new property which you can use in order to navigate, in order to identify the route. Like you can identify it by path or the name, but name is more convenient. Okay, it's just a string which you use, it same as the endpoint which we use in the class. So let's go inside the where is the home page, router.push, and then name. We want to push the user to login. So what we are doing inside the logout is like we are removing the sessions, we are removing the auth token from the local storage, and then we are making a request to the slash logout endpoint, which is already implemented inside the Flash security. And then once we received the response from the fetch, what we are doing, we are checking whether the response was okay. That means if the status code of the response was between 200 and 300, then we know that everything went right, and we are pushing the user to the login route. So let's go and check whether it works fine or not. So right now we are logged in. Let's go to the home page. Home page. Did I miss something? Okay, slash home is not there. So you can see that there is a welcome to the home page, and there is a span element logout, and let me click on this logout. You can see that the local storage is gone. It cannot hit the properties of undefined structure router. Okay, I have made a mistake here. That's why it didn't work. So let's go and log in again. But you can see that the local storage, the removing the local storage worked. And if you go inside the cookies, I hope that cookie is also gone. Okay, it's not going, but that's all right. The reason why I'm trying to to log out from the system is like I'll show you the demo what happens. So if you will go and to the login and click user to @email.com, the password 1234, and if you log in, so this the authentication token will come, and if you again try to log in without logging out, you'll see that there will be an error. Okay, but if you will go and log out,
Sir,
yeah,
so this error is coming because of um,
like you are already logged in.
logged in. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
but if you will go here, log out, and if you will click on the logout, you can see that you are navigated to the login page, and then if you will go and log in, user user 2 @email.com, and password is 1234, then that error will not come. Okay, and once the user logs in, we want the user to navigate to the profile page. So inside the home dot, so you understood how I implemented the logout. I removed the authentication token from the local storage, and then I made a fetch request to the slash logout endpoint, which is already implemented inside the Flash security. And I just checked whether the response was okay. If it was okay, then I am pushing the user to the login endpoint, which makes sense because once you log in, the next step would be once you log out, the next step should be login again. And now if I go to the login.js, what we were doing is like we were passing the authentication token, like we were parsing the JSON data which we got from the server, and then we are filtering out the authentication token and then storing it inside the local storage. And after that, we would like to push the user to the profile page. So for that, as I said, that this router instance is available everywhere in each component. So we can use this router.push, and I'll push to the profile profile route. Now let's go and check. Okay, let me log out first. Log out, and then we are on the login form. So email.com, and then password will be 1234, and then click on the login, and you can see the authentication token here. And inside the session storage we also have the authentication token. But why we were not navigated to? Should have worked. Let's refresh this. User at the rate com. Two, two, four. Okay, and yeah, you are navigated. You are getting navigated to the profile page. Okay, now our like we have defined a like workflow how our application will work. So initially we will have a home page, and maybe on the home page we are going to give a login. Initially we will have a home page, login page. I think this logout should be on the profile.js, because when the user will land on your application, it will go to the home page. So it doesn't make sense this logout to be on the home page. So what I'll do, I'll just copy all these things, control X, and I'll push it to the profile page. Profile page, and then I'll have to copy that methods profile page. Okay. And on the login page, on the home page, I'll give a button to login. So what I will do, I will define a span element, and then we will say login, and if, no, I don't need this span element. What I'll do, I'll use the router link, router link, and then I will define the to property here. To is equal to slash uh, login. I have defined it correct. Okay. Router link. Let me check that. syntax. Router name 2 is equal to slash 2, that is correct.
So there is one more slash.
That okay. I mean it should be inside this div.
Hmm. Hmm.
I have not given. I'll have to give it a name, so I cannot router link. I'll have to close this tag here. Not a, it cannot be self closing because I'll have to give some text. Login. I'll define a style here and float it to the right. Float it to the right. Let's go here and again refresh. You can see that the login is here. What happened? Missing property. Prop is here.
So it should be Poland too. I think you need to bind it.
Oh, no, no. You don't have to bind it. It will work. I mean, there is some problem with this style. Cannot read the copy of undefined reading name missing required stop to go there and check. It's right. Oh, sorry.
Slash router.
I mean, very hard to remember all the sequences. I can see that the login is here, and once you click on this login, you'll be navigated to the login page. Let me get this style again because it doesn't look good there. Let's again visit the home page. Okay, now it's okay. And what I will do, I will remove that. Okay, ideally this both should be inside the home page, but it's okay. Now we'll move forward. So on the home page, we have a login button. So once you click on this login, you will navigate to the login form, and you can use the user to @email.com and password 1234. And once you log in, okay, I am already logged in. I'll delete this and I'll delete the cookie too, and then again log in. Okay, I am getting navigated to the profile page, and from here I can log out and again go to the home page. Now everything seems good. So now what I will be doing is like I will create a simple endpoint inside the main.py. I have a for now I'll just remove this auth required, and instead of user I'll create a blog. I'll create a blog slash blog endpoint, and this blog will return all the blogs. This will return all the blogs created by that user. So from Flask, I'll have to import the from class security. Let's first uh, get all the blogs, whatever the blog we have, and then we will return the blog which was created by the user. For now, let's define an endpoint which will return all the blocks. So here I'll fetch all the blocks. Blocks will be into log. I've imported the blog here. Log dot query dot all. Okay, then serialization will become a problem. Stay name already. Now I'll have to serialize it inside in some object which can be, I mean, JSON serializable object, which can be serialized in the JSON. So the class RESTful will be a better choice to use, or I'll have to do it manually. So I'll use class RESTful, but it will take some time. I don't know what to do. Okay, let me do it here. For logs, create a logs list. So it will be an empty list. And then for blog in blogs, what I will do, I will create a dictionary. And use the title blog dot title, and then a description blog dot description. And then what I will do, I'll push this inside this blog list. So blog list dot push dot append. So it will take all the blocks and convert it inside in a dictionary, and then after I'll append it to this list, and then I will return the I'll return this list blog list. Before that, let's go to the under client and try to fetch these blogs. And here I will write logs. I hope the name is correct. Set the main.py. make it blocks. Sense. Slash blocks. Connection was request to server. Haven't made any mistake. We rerun this. Now let's try. Okay, there is only one blog, so that's why we have this description. This is my first blog. So okay, now let's move to the main.py. So this is working, but if I'll use the auth required, you will see that this will not work. I'll go here and try to send the request. You'll see that we are getting it's a HTML form which by default the which by default the Flash security sends to field. That this is the HTML form. If you look at it carefully, so you can see that's the email and password. So it means that it is not going to send you the block. If the authentication is required, the first you will fill the form. That is first you will log in and then you will get the block. But if I'll go to the headers and instead I will logs I am trying to, and if I go to the header and add a header authentication token and copy my authentication token from the browser. This is the authentication token, and then if I'll send the request, you'll see I am getting the response because this endpoint is protected. Main.py, this endpoint is protected because the auth required decorator we have used, and we have also specified uh, what kind of authentication is required. So we have written token, that is the authentication token is required, and from the configurations you can see that the security token authentication token header configuration is saying that authentication we will send the authentication token in the header authentication token. That's why we have used this. Where is that request? Okay, that's why we have used this authentication token header in order to send the authentication token, so that the like server will verify who we are, like who the client is using this authentication token. So now what we are going to do, we send the request using this
So, sir, I
UI.
didn't get this part. Why we need to manually add this authentication token?
Okay, it's because we have configured our Flash security in such a way that we are saying that we are going to send the authentication token in this authentication token header. So Flash security is waiting for the authentication token header in order to identify the client. So when we made the request, I don't know where. Okay, so when we made the request, we send this authentication token in authentication token header. You can see that I am in the headers tab. So I created a new header authentication token and then added our authentication token and then sent the request. Then using this authentication token, the server can verify the client that okay, this client is authenticated client, so I can send the data.
But in the browser, we're not sending any authentication token.
No, no, but but we didn't use any protected route till now. So till now, all these routes are not protected. So we have just created only one authenticated route. If you go to the main.py, so the auth required is how you protect your route. So whenever you will make a request to the route which requires authentication, then only you will have to send the auth required. I mean that authentication token. So we will be using that. You understood? So whenever you are making a request to the protected route, then only you need to send the authentication token header.
This token is made by the server.
Yeah.
Yeah, then how we can know? We have to first do before secure and then take the authentication code and then do the authentication
No,
requirement.
see, whenever you are creating routes on the server, you will create like uh, you can create either the protected route or not protected route. So all
How
those
we can get the token?
no the
If we
authentication.
if we use the authentication required,
Yeah.
then if how we can get the token?
No, we are not using authentication token to all our routes. We are not using authentication token for this route. So you can freely make use to this like this route without sending the authentication token. I'll send. Let me go here. Go to the home page. Okay, where is that? So if I'll make a request to the slash endpoint, I don't need this authentication token. So you can see that the home route is sending the exact index.html. So this index.html had ID app, and we are not sending authentication token with this. I'll remove this. I'll have to again write that, but you can see that you can send a request to the route which is not protected without sending the authentication token. So your login route will not be a protected route. It will give you the authentication token. Why you are so confused? So if I'll make the request to the login slash include auth token, and I'll make a post request, and with the body, with the JSON body user email to @email.com, and password 1234. If I'll make this request, I'm not sending anything inside the header. So this is not a protected route. I am just sending the post request to using this credential, and this unprotected route is giving me the authentication token. And then I'm using this authentication token to receive the response from the protected routes.
Okay.
Yeah, you cannot like get the authentication token from the protected route.
So we have to do this way to get the authentication.
Authentication token. So this way you'll get the authentication token, and whenever you will make a request to the protected route, you'll use this authentication token inside the authentication token header.
Okay, boy.
Okay, now we have seen how we can get the data from the protected route using this client Thunder client, but how we can use that authentication token inside our application, like how to make a request using the fetch. This is what we are more concerned with because we are going to use the fetch inside our application. So let me go close this. Okay, let me go to the profile page, profile component, and here what we will do, we will make a request to the server. So there is a logout, but we will list all our blogs in our profile page. I mean, ideally it should be the blogs of a particular user, but for now we will list all the blocks because we have created that endpoint in such a manner. So first what I will do, I will use the life cycle hooks. I don't know, did Abhishek covered the life cycle hooks? Hello? Are you guys know the life cycle hooks?
Yes, sir. Mounted.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah. Then okay. Okay. So what we are going to do, we are going to use the lifecycle hook in order to fetch the data. So I will use the mounted hook. The mounted hook is run when the component is mounted to the DOM. You can use the created hook or mounted hook, any hook you want. So before that, let me create a data. But you already know that the data should always, if you are using the local component, it should always be a function which returns a object. Return object. So I'll define a list here, which will initially be a null, or we can create a empty list. So I'll name it blogs, and then it will be a list. It will be an empty list. Okay, or you can define it null, doesn't matter, because we are going to replace this whole variable. So inside the mounted hook, we are going to make a fetch request. So either you can use the async await if you want. I'll use the async function, and then I will wait for the response. So I'll use response, and I'll use the response is equal to fetch, and then I'll be making request to the slash, what was the name, logs. Okay, and so this will store the resolved value of this fetch request, and then let me parse this response in the JavaScript object. Response data is equal to response dot JSON. So await await await. I will use await, and here I will make the response dot. We will be improving our this mounted hook, but for now let's let me log this console dot log dot log log this data. So for now, we are just looking at the console and see what happens when we make this fetch request. Okay, so let's go to the browser and visit the login profile, and let's go here and see the request again. Error unexpected token. So you can see that that the server is sending a HTML, because you can see that the doc type is not a valid JSON. I mean, this is coming because, as you saw in the Thunder client, that whenever we were sending a request without the authentication token, it was sending you a HTML, which is a login form created by the Flash security, which asks user to log in first and then visit that URL. So that's why we are not able to parse this in a JSON, because it cannot be parsed because it's a HTML. So what we can do, you can you can pass we can you can define a object where you can define what method you want to use, or what are the headers you want to use, or like apart from the URL, you can also pass some options with the object inside in the fetch. For example, if you want to send the post request, then you can use method, and we are going to send the get request. It's not necessary to use the method if you are sending a get request, because by default the value of this method property is get, so it's not required, but I just wrote it because I wanted to show this. And then you can define headers, and inside the headers you can define all the headers which you want to send with the request. So what I will do, I will just use the I as you know that I'll have to send the authentication header authentication token. Hope the spelling is correct. Yeah, I'll copy this if I miss it. Authentication token, and then I can receive this authentication token from the local storage. So what I will do, local storage dot get item, and this will be host token. Host token, but sometimes this authentication token may not be available. But let's assume that the user is already logged in. Okay. Now we are sending the same request which we send using the Thunder client. What we are doing, we are making a get request to this endpoint slash logs, and we are sending the authentication token along with the request. So let's make sure that the authentication token is already there inside the local storage. No, so we'll have to log in first. Get this to @email.com, and then 1234, and then on the login, and you can see that the authentication token is here. Okay, this error is coming this because of this. because we are after login, we are navigating our user to this profile page. I'll plug in the charger.
Sir, you're not audible.
Sorry. So now, when I am clicking on this, like when I'm visiting this slash profile URL, what I'm receiving is like a list. You can see that this is a list with one with length one, and that list has a single has a single entry, and that is an object, which is this is my first blog, and the title with the first blog which we are expecting. So now what I will do, so now you know how to use this authentication token, and what you can do, like if you have this authentication token, there is a better way to handle this, but let's leave it. So let's keep this blocks, and now we are getting this block. We know that this data is a array of objects, which are the blocks which the server sent. And now once we have data, what we can do is like we can replace that replace this blocks with that data. So this dot logs is equal to data. And now that, so that's why I was saying that you can remove. I mean you can keep it an array or you can keep it null value, doesn't matter, because I'm going to completely replace these blocks with the data which we will be getting from the backend. So now I want to show this in a in our UI. So for that, let's create a simple component log.js, and this blog.js code called, here it will be a, there will be a template that give template, list this epic. So this is the div template. This is a template with a div element, and inside the div element, uh, I'm going to create a list, or maybe we can make it a list element. Li plus li, and here I will write the title will be the, so what I will do, I will use the props in order to get the data, and the first one will be title and the second one will be description. And then inside the title, I will be using this title, and then I'll have a description will be a doesn't seem right. I'm constantly switching between class and Jinja and getting that. So what we will be doing, we will be sending these props to this component, and then we will be rendering this title and description from here. So inside the login dot inside the profile dot js, what I will do, I will import this logs, import log from log dot js. Log.js, I have imported this, and then I will register this component here. Components. In this component, I will register this blog, and I can use this blog component. But before that, what we will do, we will blogs, we will iterate over this blog, and then pass the blog data to this blog component, and then the blog component will render the data. So after the log out, what I will do, I'll create a new div or UL element slash UL, and this UL element, uh, and I will be using this log here, and I will pass the props. Okay, I'll use the for here, p for equal to p for is equal to log in blogs, and so what we are doing here is we are using this. We know that this blogs is a array, so we are iterating over this blog and getting this blog individual blog, and we will be passing this blog to this blog component as a title and description. So I will title is equal to log dot title, and mm, description is equal to log dot Okay, so we are iterating over the blog inside this blogs data, we are iterating over the blogs data, and we are, I mean, this blog represents the individual blog inside the array, and then we are binding this title with the title of the blog and description with the description of the blog, and we are sending this as the props to the blog element here, and that is going to show us the like the data. So let me go and refresh this. Let me see whether we were component is able to for should have explicitly, that is, but it shows the data. It just says that every the component rendered mm, with the v for should have a explicit key element. So what you can do, you can, where is that, profile.js blog, and you can also fetch the index from there, blogs, and then you can bind this index with the index. That error will not come now, and you can see that we have one one blog, which is the first blog, and the description, this is my first blog. So we are able to we are able to fetch the data from the protected route and able to display that data on our UI. So any question?
Sir.
Yeah.
Sir, here the title and descriptions are the props which we have used in this one, no, sir? Those
Yeah.
are the one we are binding, no, sir?
Yes. No, so
Okay.
it's not the bind. See, we are passing this title to
But
the prop, and we are
uh,
binding this to the blog dot title.
uh,
See,
yeah,
this blog.js has two props, title and description.
title and description.
That is, it's expecting from the parent to pass the title and description.
Yeah,
So we'll have to pass the title and description, which is this title and this description.
yeah,
But
that's what.
yeah,
Yeah,
and this blog is a JavaScript object.
yeah, that I can make it out. So, but here the these this title and descriptions are the props we are
Yeah.
binding. We are binding that way. Okay, okay,
Yes.
that's okay.
The reason we needed to bind is because this blog is a JavaScript object. So
Hmm.
whenever you are using object, you'll have to bind it.
Okay.
And if you are using string, then you don't have to bind it.
Hmm.
So now we know how to parse the data, and okay. So here is a catch. So if I'll go and log out and then again try to profile, will it will not show anything because we have hit a error. We have hit a error, that is the, like, there was nothing inside the local storage, so authentication token is gone from our browser, so we are not able to send the authentication token to the server. That's why it's sending us that HTML, the doc type, that HTML, which is the form for logging in. So now what is the, I mean, how we can overcome this error? So the first thing we can, I mean, the most basic thing which we can do is like go to the uh, view to router, and you can use a thing called navigation guards. So if we go to the navigation guards, You can see that there are multiple kind of guards available. The first is global before guard. So this is kind of similar to the hooks which Vue provides. That is, we can the uh, hook into the process. Hook into the process means, so whenever some Vue component, all the Vue components follow the process. Like it takes the templates and compile it in a JavaScript code, and then once it's created, then it set up the reactivity system, and then mount it on the like on the DOM, and you can hook into this in multiple stages of this process. Similar thing is with the navigation guards. So you can hook into the navigations, like this navigation guard. If you look at the router dot before it will run before each navigation. So you can define a callback function which will be run whenever some navigation will happen. For example, let's say you are on the home page, and you are trying to navigate to the profile. So let me like this, and you are trying to navigate to the profile. So that navigation hook will be triggered. That navigation hook is triggered, so you can use this navigation guard in order to protect the like user in order to one second. So you can use this navigation guard in order to protect user to navigate to those routes which need the authentication token, like which needs the login. You understood? So here what I'm trying to say here is, like, if you look at the slash profile, you cannot see the blocks unless you are logged in. So it doesn't make sense to a user to navigate to the profile page unless he is logged in. So you can protect the user from navigating to this profile page using this navigation guard.
Sir,
Yeah.
so basically, these navigation guards will help us. Can you go to that errors doc?
Okay.
Like,
Okay. Error
yeah.
here.
So whenever it expects any authentication token, so it will protect that user. I mean, as you said that it will.
So it will not allow the user to navigate to some route which requires the authentication.
Okay. I mean, does it give any message or like that, sir?
No, it will just see. I'll just show you the example how you can do it. Like,
Okay.
let's say, what I will do, I'll just copy this code and I'll explain it. I'll paste it inside this main.js app.js, and here we have the router instance, and here what I'll do, I'll do this. So what it says, that whenever some navigation is happening, before each means before each navigation, so there are three parameters you can pass. I mean, it receives. So this is the callback function. This one is a callback function. So you can define a callback function, and that callback function will receive to, from, and next. So the to is the route from to which you want to navigate. Like, let's say you want to navigate to the profile page from the home page. So this defines from where you want to navigate, and this defines to where you want to navigate, and this is the action, like what you want to do. So for example, if the to dot name is not equal to login, so that is, if you don't, if you are not navigating to the login page and you are not authenticated, then move to the login page. Else, you can navigate to the page where you want to go. You understood?
Sir, here, uh, else next means, as you told, it's a
Yeah, so wherever you want to navigate, you can navigate.
okay, okay. But here the in the if condition, the next will be it navigates to, it will push us to the login, no sir?
Login page. Yes, if you are not if you are not authenticated,
Huh.
and you are not login, you are not navigating to the login page. That is,
Okay.
you are not authenticated, and you are trying to navigate to some page, like for example, the profile page.
Hmm.
Then the router will automatically move you to the login page because you are not authenticated. So it doesn't make sense to go to a page which requires authentication. So it will redirect you to the navigation page. But if this condition is false,
Okay.
then you can navigate to the profile page. The profile page is just a example. So for the login, our name is login. So I'll understood.
Sir, else means here, I mean, it is, I mean, login and everything is there, then it will go to that profile
Yes,
page.
yes.
Okay,
If you are logged in,
okay.
So is
yeah,
authenticated, is this a
yeah,
uh,
yeah. You'll have to define this is authenticated variable here. So we'll have to define it. So how do you know that we are authenticated?
if the
That is
local storage has the authentication token?
correct. So if the local storage has authentication token, then we know that the user is authenticated. So we'll have to define a variable is authenticated. Will be a const variable. Const variable is authenticated is equal to, okay, to to if no, what we'll do, we'll get the data from authentication from the local storage. Local storage dot get item auth token will get the, and if this value is none, if there is uh, no nothing inside the auth token local storage, like if there is no key auth token inside the local storage, then we will, yes, sorry, I just, so what this statement says, if there is something inside the authentication token, then it will evaluate to the true. So we are using this true, and this for, I mean, you can also, if you want, you can remove this, because if there is something in the local storage with the key authentication token, it will evaluate to true. Else, if there is nothing, then it will return none, and that will be evaluated to false. So if you want, you can remove this. It will not make any difference, but it's better to keep it, so that, I mean, the name of this variable is authenticated. So I mean, it seems like it. The value of this is authenticated variable is a boolean. So now let's go and try to use it. So let's refresh this. So for it, let's go to the home page. Let's refresh it. Okay. You can see that I wanted to go to the login to the home page, but I am not able to navigate to the home page because I am not authenticated. Understood? So I wanted to go to the home page. Okay, but I am getting navigated to the login page. The reason is this navigation guard. So what this navigation guard is saying, if the user is not authenticated, which we are determining whether the local storage has the authentication token or not. If it's not authenticated, then move to the login page. And but let's say you want to navigate to the user, and it also has that two name. I mean, if you are trying to navigate to the login page and it's not authenticated, one second.
So it will allow you to go to the login page even
Login
though
page,
it's not
even
authenticated.
if you are not authenticated.
So,
But
we are
all the routes are like kind of protected. Yeah.
yeah. So, but we have since like initially it will be set the value of is authenticated, but then later on it will not change, right?
One second. So what you're saying? So let's say I am getting. I mean, let's log in
Yes. So you log in
to
and
@email.com and password 1234, and then let's log in. And
so you won't be able to go to the profile page because since we have already defined is authenticated as false initially, right? We are not updating the value,
okay, yeah, we'll have to update it. Otherwise, we'll have to make a refresh.
and we'll have to update it in the login component, right? Bec-
Yes, I mean you can use the store, like
oh
the
yes.
VUS, and all those states will be shared between all the like components. So this authentication token, this can be a useful use case for the VUX, like VUX state.
Sir,
Yeah.
so what you have just discussed is that I couldn't understand. I mean, here the
No.
router, yeah,
See, the problem is we have defined this local storage, and this module, the app.js will run when we will run the application for the first time. After
Ye-
that, it will not, this authenticated variable will not update whenever we are like logging in. It's not getting updated. So we either we will have to, I mean, there has to be a way from which we can update this is authenticated once we are logging in. Otherwise,
Um,
we will have to
so
refresh. Yeah.
so once you're logged in, it will set to true. So after that, you are saying that it won't get updated. You are saying that one, sir?
Yes, see, yeah, it will not get updated. So if some user is like visiting your application for the first time, so the local storage will not have authentication token, right? So it will this these authenticator will set to the false,
Yeah.
and then it will your application will navigate the user to the login page.
Yes.
And then if the user is like logging in, so we are not updating this is authenticated variable. And if you will not update this is authenticated variable, even if the user is logged in, this will not get updated because we are not updating it.
But
it
it will be set to true, no, sir, here.
no, it will set to true once you refresh. It's not reactive.
Oh, okay.
You understood? I'll show you a demo. So let me log out.
Is before root is only happen once. Router was before each.
Let me delete this, and then let's go to the cookies and let's delete this. We are manually logging out the user. So see, initially the user is not logged in. So if
Yes.
you will try to navigate to the home page, you will
Hmm.
not be able to navigate because the guard will send you to the login page. So now let's
Yes.
log in.
Okay.
Uh, uh, user to @email.com and then password 1234. So once I will log in,
Hmm.
I have the I have this
Token.
one,
Yeah.
and I have this authentication token. And if
Yeah.
you look at the code, we are trying to navigate after the login. We were navigating to the profile page. If you remember,
Hmm.
yeah. So we were navigating to the login page, but we are not able to navigate. Why?
Um, um,
The reason is even if we have, even if there is something inside the local storage, but this is authenticated will is not updating.
okay.
You understood? So it will only get updated. It will have to manually update it now because see, I mean when the JavaScript run this code, at that time it's like checking the value of the local storage and then deciding what should be the value of is authenticated, right? But after that we are not running this code.
Yeah.
That's why we use view now to get the reactivity.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
So this is not a reactive state,
Okay.
and uh, we the problem is this is authenticated has to be used inside all the components which needs authentication.
Hmm.
That is it will this is authenticated state will be shared between the multiple components,
Yes.
and this is why we use vuex.
Okay.
So will so the best strategy would be use the uh, like define a state in the vuex is authenticated, and then once you like log in, mutate that is authenticated to false, and then you will be able to do whatever you want to do.
Okay.
Understood?
Yes.
So I think this is a very simple strategy, this navigation guard to use, and this will like reduce a lot of things which you would do manually. Okay, so now let's assume that we are logged in. Now if I'll go because the user is logged in and we are refreshing the whole application. So by the whole application, what I would say, like if I'll go to the network tab and I'll remove this, and if I'll refresh it, you will see that everything will be loaded. You will be able to see all the sources, the resources which are coming from the server. So if I'll go and refresh it, okay, I'm not. I mean, it was logged in the. Okay.
Oh, sorry, click the refresh button. I think it will.
Yeah, you can see that. Let me go clear everything, and then I have the login. Then go to the user@mail.com. Password 1234. Why authentication is giving 400 error? What happened now? Am I writing the credentials wrong? Yeah, email.
So it's email.
It should work. Now if I'll refresh and then if I'll go to the, you can see that I'm able to navigate to the home page. Because so when I again visited the application, it loaded all the application like all the resources from the server and then ran all the JavaScript files. So and this time it like the browser was able to find the like authentication token inside the local storage. So the value was set to true. So we are able to navigate wherever we want. Okay, now one thing I would like to like this strategy I guess is like will reduce a lot of load, because every time you'll have to implement it manually, or because you cannot allow a user to navigate to a route which needs authentication without getting authenticated. So now inside the profile dot. Okay, so let's. I mean, I wanted to show how to make a post request from the. You have already seen a post request. You go to the login.js. You have already seen the post request, how to make a post request. But I wanted to make a post request. For that, I'll have to make a endpoint here, which will receive the app.post and logs, and I will keep it open. I will not make it protected. Okay, blog. I mean, this endpoint I am making just to show how to make a post request to an endpoint. So I'll data. Before that, I'll have to import the request. Data is equal to request.json. Request.json. I think it should be a. It will be it will be a dictionary. So we are going to make a request with the JSON data. That's why we need to pass the JSON data. And when you use when the incoming data is form, then we use request.form. And when the data is like JSON, then you use request.json. And then what I will do, I will pass the title. I'll take the title, which is equal to data dot get, and this will be a dictionary. Data will be a dictionary, so I'll get title there, and description equal to data dot get description, and then I'll create a blog element. Blog instance. Blog is equal to log, and then I'll pass the title equal to title, and description equal to description. So in order to create a blog instance, we need to pass the title and the description. And then I'll have to add it to the session pp.session.add, and then response return. You can return OK with the 200. By default, it will go the 200. So let's make use of this blog post. We are not keeping it authenticated. We are not keeping it protected. So I just want to show how you can make a post request. Let me check whether the application is running. Not running. It's very similar to the login which we implemented here, like the login functionality. So it will take some time. So would you guys like to try, because it will be very similar to the to the to this login user method. So what you will do, you will make a fetch request to the slash blogs, and then you'll make a post request. I mean, you will be making a post request, and then what you will do, you will take the whatever the data you have, and you convert it into a JSON string, which the JSON.stringify does. It takes a JavaScript object and convert it into a JSON string, and then whenever you are making a request, content type application slash JSON, it says that we are going to send the, I mean, the data which we are sending is a JSON data, and then if the route is protected, then you will use that authentication header. Otherwise, it's not required. And then after that, you will get the response. If the response is if the then you will check whether the response was okay. Like here we are just checking whether we got the response. Like if the fetch was successful, and the fetch will only fail when there is some network issue, like the either the network issue or the like fetch is not able to find that endpoint. So if this fetch will return, it will always return a promise, and once this promise resolves, you can handle it inside this then block. You can like bind a callback function with this then then method, and this then method will receive, this callback function will receive the response object, and then you can convert that response object into a like JavaScript object. It so whenever you use response.json, it treats the response body as a JSON string, and then parse that in a JavaScript object, and it will also return a promise. So after that, the like you will get the data which was sent by the server, and then after that you can do whatever you want. So it will be very similar to this login user method. I wanted to create it, but it's already 11:06, and I think you guys will be able to like do it. If you face any problem, you can always contact me. Okay, any question?
Sir, can you share this code?
Yeah, yeah. I'll be pushing this code after that.
Okay.
Okay, thanks guys. Thanks for joining.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.